Chaos Shuffle was a game modifier that Behavior Interactive rolled out in May of 2024 as a fresh new game mode for a limited time. Surprisingly though, it became a hit beyond anyone's expectations. Hello everyone, my name is Pally. I'm an OG 2016 Dead by Daylight nerd with over 12,000 hours at the time of recording this, and today I'm going to talk about Chaos Shuffle. Random builds, random playstyles, a different experience every single time, well, for the most part, and I'll get into that, but first let's talk about how this all came to be. The meta in Dead by Daylight, as in most games, is a constant presence that is hard to escape. Despite attempts to shake things up, there is always a meta and there will always be a meta. With the gameplay loop staying more or less the same since 2016 and the same perks appearing in nearly every match, things can start to feel a little bit stale. Chances are if you're playing Killer, you often see the same 4 to 6 perks every game, and those usually consist of Windows of Opportunity, an exhaustion perk, and a couple of second chances, or something to boost generator speeds, and if you're Survivor, you usually see a plethora of gen slowdowns or aura reading. Now, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with this. These are perks in the video game, and there's nothing wrong with running them, or even stacking them. No matter what XYZ content creator on Twitter tells you, they are wrong, they are definitively incorrect. You're not a bad person for running what you want, nor are you a piece of garbage for running strong stuff to make your games easier. That's the point of perks, items, and add-ons. They're all tools, and tools exist to help you. However, that being said, for a lot of people on both sides, especially those with a decent amount of playtime, this can get very boring very, very quickly. Those who have logged a lot of hours into Dead by Daylight, particularly content creators, have been turning to perk or build roulette websites as a way to make the game feel fresh. Some have gone above and beyond by doing streaks with random perks and builds, creating a fun and engaging challenge for themselves. We were given a sneak peek of an integrated, in-game DBD perk roulette and its functionality in different tome challenges over the last couple of years, dealing players random perks, and that's when we knew Behavior was onto something special. It didn't take long for us to see that they were on the right track, and all we wanted was for Behavior to understand that this concept shouldn't be limited to just tome challenges. But then it happened. During the anniversary broadcast over on Twitch, Behavior Interactive introduced the Chaos Shuffle modifier. The live chat exploded with various opinions, the DBD community as usual divided into two sides. Each side thought the modifier would benefit the other side more, some even dismissed it because they didn't want to run a random build or risk getting the dreaded No Mither perk. However, for veterans like me and many others I assume, this announcement was exciting because it's something we had been wanting for years. Now, as someone who's been playing since beta and has logged over 12,000 hours into DBD, I just want to be candid about my personal thoughts on Chaos Shuffle. These are just my personal opinions, and I would never try to speak for anyone else. However, I feel that many players, regardless of their playtime, may have similar feelings. For what felt like an eternity, DBD had left me feeling exhausted. And truth be told, I still feel that way to some degree. And the monotony of encountering the same perks game after game, regardless of the side I chose, had taken its toll on me. But then came Chaos Shuffle, a game changer that revitalized my love for the game, and even though the gameplay loop remained identical and unchanged, the random perks, while maintaining the freedom to customize items and add-ons, became the remedy for my burnout, so to speak. Chaos Shuffle provided a much-needed change of pace. Now, were there some issues? Absolutely, and we'll discuss those shortly. However, at its core, it offered a chill and laid-back experience. And sure, you'd encounter those survivors who wanted to speedrun gens, and those killers who'd tunnel people out at 5 gens. But those players will always exist, and that's all right. They invested in the game just as you did, and they're not doing anything wrong. Regardless, overall, if you don't take DBD too seriously, the game mode felt more relaxed compared to the standard DBD game loop. Losses weren't as crushing, and it didn't seem like you were constantly sweating for a win, at least from my point of view. I did lose, and I suffered quite a few losses. I'm a Trapper main, of course I did. Yet, in none of those instances did I feel like I was being out-perked. The losses didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. It didn't give me that sense of hopelessness that I sometimes experience in the regular queue. One thing that Chaos Shuffle did that no one's really talking about is it shed light on the balance of Dead by Daylight. It demonstrated the reliance survivors have on perks like Exhaustion, Windows of Opportunity, and Second Chances, as well as the reliance killers have on slowdowns and aura reading. As a seasoned Trapper main, I understand the necessity of slowdowns to avoid a stressful match. Slowdowns on him are just plain essential if you don't want to be dripping with sweat all game. The event also emphasized how map balance plays a significant role in determining match outcomes. Now, that's some of the great stuff about Chaos Shuffle. Let's talk about some of the not so great stuff. The main thing I want to address isn't an inherent problem with Chaos Shuffle itself, but rather the community, and more specifically, content creators and their occasionally questionable takes. Now, it's worth noting that when I refer to content creators, I'm not saying every content creator has these takes or has these opinions, and I'm not saying that they're the only ones with these viewpoints. But due to their large influence, these opinions are frequently, for lack of a better word, regurgitated. Many content creators have been vocal about their opinions on whether Chaos Shuffle favors killers or survivors more, but the real take I want to address is the one about removing certain perks such as No Mither or Septic Touch from the Chaos Shuffle perk pool. Look, I understand where you're coming from. Sometimes it can be disappointing to get certain perks, but Chaos Shuffle is all about the unpredictability. It's like a perk roulette. You never know what you're gonna get, and that's the excitement of it. Removing perks because they're just not enjoyable for some people isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. I personally had a great time with perks like No Mither and Septic Touch, enjoying the challenge and finding ways to make them work for me. And if you're not enjoying the chaos, the regular queue might be a better fit for you. No offense. Moving on, now let's talk about one of the biggest issues I personally had with Chaos Shuffle. Now, think back to your playtime. Despite the variety, did you find yourself constantly encountering the same perks like Fast Track or Quick Gambit over and over in your builds? Well, on Survivor anyway. Dead by Daylight has 140 Survivor perks and 121 Killer perks at the time of recording this. With such an extensive pool, you'd expect to encounter a diverse range of perks, right? Well, here's the catch. Despite the randomness of the perks, it seems like certain ones, such as the ones I mentioned, Fast Track and Quick Gambit, have a knack for appearing in every other build in every other game. It would be fantastic if Behavior could tweak their randomization algorithm and ensure a more balanced distribution of perks. That way we can keep discovering new and unique perk combinations each time we play. Now that pretty much sums up the major issues. So let's shift our focus to how the community responded to Chaos Shuffle after playing it. And to put it simply, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Almost everyone fell in love with it, and now of course there's a few cynical nerds out there who couldn't cope with not having their stacked second chances or slowdowns, but overall the reaction was a rare occurrence that united the entire DBD community in a positive way. I know, crazy. The positivity was to the point where not only was the community begging Behavior to extend the time of the modifier, which they did until Dungeons & Dragons came out, they were also expressing their desire to see it added as a permanent fixture, and for good reason. It was refreshing, and it was chill, and it was fun. Now, Behavior, you'll probably never see this, but what you've stumbled on here is exactly what the community needed. By stumbling upon this, you've effectively answered the question of whether a separate ranked and casual mode would split the community and have a negative impact on queue times. The answer is a clear and resounding no, and in fact, it's rejuvenated the game for many players and even brought back players who had left. Now, of course, I would never presume to tell you nerds at Behavior how to do your job, but you need to make Chaos Shuffle permanent. The positive feedback it receives shows that it needs to return as a permanent fixture. The groundwork is already there, so just please re-enable it. Give it back, please. Anyways, that's all for now, folks. If you'd like to catch me live, you can find my streams over on Twitch and occasionally on Twitter, YouTube Shorts, and Noise as well. The links can be found in the description below. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.